It's very easy to make animations using Clip Studio Paint and Capcut. I enjoy turning my art into functional projects to make people laugh. In this video, I'm going to show you just how to do that. Step 1. Create your artwork. I create all of the art that I'm going to use for my YouTube channel using Clip Studio Paint. The backgrounds I use are also painted within Clip Studio Paint, and I use a dimension size of 3840 by 2160 pixels. This gives me plenty of room to work with. For my actual animation pieces, I draw everything out and save each piece as an image material layer. I find that doing this makes the animation process so much more efficient. Step 2. Build your animations. I've got my art and I've got my background. Now I set the animation up and create the timeline and camera folders as necessary. Once I'm happy with it, I export the completed animation and save it to my documents. I export each scene as I complete it. That way I stay organized and I can see my own progress as I go. Step 3. Upload and edit inside Capcut. Inside Capcut, I upload my clips into the Capcut app, which you can download easily. I prefer to use the app in case I have other windows open while doing these other things. The joys of multitasking. Once my clips are all uploaded, I then start the editing process and any audio sound effects that I might need. I also take advantage of CapCut's effects library to add some cool effects to the video or some background sound. Step 4. Export the video. Once I'm happy with the video, I start the export process. You can either download them directly to your desktop or directly into another platform. YouTube and TikTok are great places to upload them. CapCut's interface makes it very simple to upload to any platform you choose from. I recommend going back into the video platform to modify any additional settings you might need for your particular audience. Step 5. Enjoy your video and be sure to share it with other people. And folks, that's about wraps it up. I hope you found this helpful and informative. Please let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. If you like seeing these videos, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and a blessed new year. Hey there everyone, Jeffrey here. Today I'm going to take you behind the scenes and show you how I made my most recent YouTube video of my scary forest tree monster. Many of you may have seen. I only posted it yesterday, so if you haven't had a chance to look at it yet, that's okay. I'll put a link in my video so you can click on it and hopefully enjoy. So summer's almost over and we're getting ready to head into my favorite time of the year, which is Halloween. So I've been drawing a little bit more of the scary, creepy Halloween type stuff that maybe some of you guys have seen. If you haven't, I invite you to check it out. But yes, so I'm going to take you through my latest drawing. I have all the layers turned off, but I'm going to go through and I'll turn on each layer individually and show you what I was thinking while I was doing it. So let's get started. Okay, this first layer is my sketch layer. It's pretty light, pretty boring, but there's just enough information there for me to, one, put the composition together, and two, kind of get an idea of what I wanted my painting to look like, what I wanted the monster to look like, more importantly. As you can see, I've got the main focal point in the center, a little bit off center, with a couple trees in the background. And as I've done this, I've kind of already made a mental note of how I want to create the depth in this. So I already know that I'm going to make the first part of the tree a lot more darker because it's more forward than anything else. And my midground here will be a little bit less intense. So I'll either use a little bit lower opacity or a little bit lighter colors, as I want those warmer, darker colors to pull forward. This next layer, I began bringing in the background trees. So you can already see that I have a lighter gray that I've chosen. And you'll see why here in a few minutes. This next layer is a glow layer. I guess I'll have to turn that off laugh because there's no color here to actually glow just yet. This multiply layer. Actually, so this multiply layer was used as part of the animation. So it's been turned into an image layer so that I could manipulate where it is in the painting. So I can move them around. So if you see the actual YouTube video, you can actually see the trees moving. Same with this next layer. This is also an animation layer. It's the grass that you'll see behind the trees. And as the trees are moving, as these roots are moving around, they're there. The grass is supposed to show like the roots of the tree monsters are moving through that taller grass. This is the color layer. So I might have probably should have showed you this from the other direction, because this was actually underneath my ink. So let's do this. Let's go over here to the inks layer, and this was the ink line art over the pencils that I used to, one, kind of got to get a better idea of where I wanted my darks and my lights to be, and two, it just kind of gives the tree its solid structure, so that I could prevent it from becoming like a one-dimensional blob. So that's another glow layer. We'll go back to this one too. Okay, so this multiply layer here, this was a shading layer. And so my particular workflow, although this layer stack would probably contradict what I'm about to say, but typically what I like to do is I draw the pencil sketch first, then I go over it with ink, with a dark ink line art, and then I go in and I add in the shading. So let's go, maybe we'll turn off the inks. No, that's not very good. We will get this. No. Here. And here. No, this is our foreground. Here's our highlights. So this layer here is the highlight layer. So I've got, of course, my shading in, and go back here. This is a gradient map. So I had already decided that I wanted to go for a kind of a green, spooky green kind of look. But this gradient map is mainly over the tree itself, but it also lights up the background there real nice. Going on, we are on the glow layer. So now that looks a lot nice. So that glow layer lights up those colors that I have underneath. So I'll turn it off, turn it on. And I really just went over this with a little bit brighter red and yellow to really make those teeth just stand out more. Then the screen layer, you see how that changes the background. It kind of pulls it all back and lets the trees forward. So this right here is way too saturated. So what the screen layer does, basically the way I did is I fill like with a white, and I fill the whole painting out with white, and then I erase out where I don't want the screen to fall. Just like using a mask, but in reverse. And you can see how much that changes. Again, it makes it look like the back of the woods a little bit more misty, a little bit more fog-ish. Is that a word, fog-ish? Well, it can be tonight. So next is a little bit more line work on the face. So right there with the eyes, I added in some extra texture, almost like wooden eyebrows. And then right there along the teeth, some scratches and dents and lines where, these teeth have been just chomping on, God knows what. Probably ought to send them to see a dentist. Next, so this I learned from a lot of YouTubers online. And I just really just started adopting this practice to my own work. But you can see how that bright white rim light just kind of makes the whole tree just separate. It just pulls it right up out of the background. And right there along, I guess you'd call it lips, it kind of makes the bark look like it's got some more texture and that it's maybe warping under the light and getting bent in different directions. And I also added in the additional detail, dark black, random tree branches. Again, that dark black just, puts it right there in front of our face. So it's like right there. And the darker the color, the more, of course, just like with warm and hot colors. So warmer colors always move forward and cooler colors go back. These darker paintings, the black really brings things up forward. And you can kind of even see down in here, where the bushes are, they're nice and black and full in the front of the painting, and everything else as it gets lighter just recedes back. So this next layer is it's set to normal, but basically what I do is I created a fill, and I filled everything with black, and that just makes it more of an evening scene with a nice even dark color over the whole thing. In other words, if I was to be more technical, it's basically I'm establishing the mood of the painting. It's an evening, spooky forest scene, and then of course can't have a painting without a signature. So I like to put my signatures on its own separate layer. That way I can, grab it, move it around, make it bigger without necessarily messing with the rest of the painting. I'll probably eventually create an auto action that already has my signature on there, so I don't, but you never know. I mean, you may never put your signature in the same place. So, but hey, it's on its own layer, so if I decide to change my mind, I can easily change my mind depending on what the end up painting looks like. So Let's see, did I leave anything out? Nope. So we can talk a little bit about the animation. So let me pull this up. So this is an animated video. So this is my timeline. And you can see here are all of my keyframes. So if I move this along the timeline, you can see how my trees and the grass are moving back and forth. And this was basically done by, going through, I had to change these into image elements. I think that's what this is called. Basically take the layer and then you convert it from a raster layer into an image element. And then once you do that, you can go in and you can select it. And as you move it, as you move the image, it creates these keyframes. As long as you have to make sure you enable the keyframe button. And then, this is, gosh, how long is this? This is about 140 frames. So I did not actually manually move this. I only moved it 3 times, and then I copied the keyframes and pasted them back into the timeline. So that way, it creates this nice loop of the movement without actually having to go through 130 individual frames to do it. And I'll scroll up above. So here's the one for the grass. So the grass, of course, is on its own layer, and these trees are on its own layer. And that's important to go through and separate your elements that you want to animate onto separate layers. It just makes it easier to do, or to animate. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? If you haven't noticed, I didn't write a script prior to making this video, so I am completely ad-libbing. So if I sound like I'm all over the place, well, I'm all over the place, but hey, it's a, what does it say, Monday night, and that's okay. I'm sure as I make more of these videos, the narration will be better too. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I can't think of anything else to say. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you find this added some value to not just seeing the piece, but also kind of seeing how I created it. I look forward to seeing what you post in the comments. And I look forward to seeing your feedback. If you like what I do, please subscribe. I'd love to see you join my little YouTube party here on a regular basis. And I haven't quite decided what day I'm going to make as my posting day, but I see that I'm going to eventually have to go to probably once a week instead of every couple of days. So I really want to spend more time on these videos, so that it's not just on your mark, get set, go, draw, post. And of course, I'd like to know what you are interested in as well. So is there something that I've done that you'd like to know more about? Is there something I can do to, show you as those viewers who are out there may also be new artists? What can I do for you to help your learning experience? I'd be interested to hear that also in the comments. So, okay, well, no further ado. I will call it a night. Thank you for turning in and watching this, and see you next time. Hi everyone, it's Jeffrey from Jeffrey Hunt Art. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, and to celebrate early, we're going to draw a pumpkin together, drawing digitally of course. And in this video I'm going to use Clip Studio Paint to draw mine, but you can use any software that you'd like. So as our first step, you're going to want to start out with a pencil tool and a couple of layers and draw a round shape. You can get as creative as you want. It's basically a circle that you can stretch to whatever shape you want to give it some character. And of course you want to draw a stem up on top. And the stem is really nothing more than a curvy rectangle. For step 2, we're going to draw the face. To draw the face, you can come up with something funny or scary. I like to go for something with a creepy smile. The eyes are basically triangle shapes along with the nose, but you can use any shape you want. And for my smile, I'm just gonna do something a little bit simple, some wavy lines, and come back down the bottom, and voila. For step 3, I want to ink your drawing by creating a new layer and lowering the opacity of the pencils that you just made. You want to make sure your pencils are, of course, underneath your inks. And I set my pencils at about 48% opacity, which should be just enough. And you want to select an inking pen. I like to use the Real G pen. It's a pen that comes with the software. I'm sure any software has a pen that's similar to it. So I'm going to very carefully trace around the outside of my pumpkin. I don't have to necessarily go over the lines because the pencils are really nothing more than a guide. I'm going to go in and get the stem. There we go. And I'm going to go over the eyes, the cutouts that we have for eyes. And this is a good point to point out, this is probably a good time to point out line quality. So you can see I'm using a little bit thinner line for the inside, for the details. I've got a thicker outline for the pumpkin itself. If you were to draw everything with the same size or the same line weight, then it all looks like a big blurry mess. So now I'm going to come over, I'm going to add a little more detail into the pumpkin itself. Some creases, some deformities, because they tend to do their own thing when they're growing in a garden. But these extra lines of detail give the pumpkin some stronger character. Here we go. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to darken some of this in. I'm basically going to have the light coming from the right side, and we'll just make this left side here in shadow. And that's basically it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoy celebrating Halloween early just as much as I do. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Out of here. Hello everyone, Jeffrey here, and I want to talk about my process for creating art books on Amazon without it costing me anything. Now, I'm new to making YouTube videos, but I want to spend the New Year sharing what I've learned so far as a self-taught artist and illustrator. I've written and published 2 art books so far, and I didn't pay a thing to do it. All it costs really is some time and some perseverance. So what are you going to make? The first thing you need to do is figure out what type of book you're going to make and ask yourself these questions. Is it going to have a lot of text? Are you going to work with an editor or just do it yourself? Are you going to have a lot of art in the book? Have you designed your art book already, or are you going to do that down the road? Once you figure all that out and you have the components you need, you can really begin putting it all together. The next thing you need is software of some sort to create your book in. I created my book with Microsoft Publisher because I already have it, but you can use almost any editing software. I was able to choose from different page layouts, and I found that working with text wasn't very difficult. If you're just a beginner, then you might want to avoid paying for subscriptions for software if you can help it. The next step is to make a dummy copy of your book. I did this entirely in Microsoft Publisher. I built a table of contents of the topics I would cover, then I began laying out in the text for those topics along with the artwork that I created using other software programs like Sketchbook Pro or Clip Studio Paint. You might have to buy those if you don't have one already, but this video I've assumed that you already have passed that hurdle. So where does the text come from? Well, you can write everything from scratch, or if you maintain a regular blog like I do, you can simply copy and paste your blog post into your book, which I find saves me a lot of time. I do spend a lot of time putting my blog posts together, which I find then saves me time when I'm putting my text into a book. It's already been edited and already reads well. After finishing laying out the text and artwork, it's time to make a quick PDF of the book and see how it flows. Now, I highly recommend waiting a day or two, or maybe even a week to go back and read your draft. When I do this, I find that when I work, I'm working blind. I think that everything sounds and reads the way that I want it. But when I come back after maybe a day, maybe 2 days, I read what I wrote and I wonder, what was I thinking? Once you're happy with your book, you can go on over to Amazon Kindle and use their tools to finish your book and make it available for others to download or print on demand using Amazon Prime shipping. You also have to think about how you want to market that book. That itself is a whole other task that can be quite time consuming, but there are tools out there to help make this a little bit easier, and you just have to figure out what works best for you. Well, I hope that you found this useful. If you have the desire to create books or publish them yourself, there are options out there, so you don't have to pay an arm and a leg just to do it. Just make sure that you take the time to make the best product possible, because you want the customer to feel like they bought something of value. And if you're in the mood to check out my book called The Concept Art Idea Book, you can find it on Amazon.com in hard copy or Kindle version. It contains 60 pages of my illustrations from 2021, and I discuss my process for creating them. Oh, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It helps me stay motivated to make more videos. Have a great one. Thanks for listening. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Jeffrey Hunt here, fantasy digital artist and recent YouTuber. Received this question recently on my Twitter feed. It looks like it came from Microsoft Surface. Where did the inspiration for this piece come from? Well, rather than type out a very complicated response, I figured, well, why not do a video on it and share it with everyone so lots of people can benefit from this newfound knowledge. Although I don't think it's rocket science, but it's new to me, so I'm pretty happy about it. So I absolutely love creating digital art, whether it's Photoshop or in this case, I used Clip Studio Paint, and I was wondering to myself, what can I do to add some really cool lighting effects, or maybe even turn my still image into a more captivating animated design. So I found myself doing what most people in 2022 do now, is we went onto YouTube and I went looking for some ideas and some inspiration, and I came across some Blender tutorials. And one of those tutorials was a very good description about particle fields. And then I started thinking, well, wow, I had just recently made this image of a witch. So how neat it would be to create some type of a magical effect of either moving fireflies, or maybe it's magical energy flying around. to kind of create more of a sense of mystery and mood to the overall design. So I started going through the Blender tutorial and learned how to create the particle field and just some basic stuff to play around with. And I was so amazed at all the things you could do to change the lighting, change the angles of the shots. And I think I pretty much became a kid in a candy store within mere moments of playing with it. And then using the compositor feature of Blender, I downloaded some appropriate mood music that I thought fit the scene that I made, and when I ended up with a pretty cool mood setting scene that I then animated and exported as MP4 and uploaded into YouTube. So not too complicated, but although it sounds more complicated until you really start digging in and doing it, it's actually a lot of fun. So what I've done here is I'll show you, I do a quick breakdown of the process that I used in Blender, and so you can see what I did, and hey, there might be a better way out there to do the same thing that I'm showing you. More power to you. This is just the way that I chose to do it, and so hopefully you guys get something good out of it. So here we go. Okay everyone, so I'm inside Blender and I'm going to show you how I set this piece up. But let me quickly give you a itemization of all the pieces parts here. So I've got my cube, which is right here. The cube is the object that the particle system was created from. So all these little white dots here, you can see those are the particles, and you see when I hit the play button that they start moving around. Now how fast and how slow these particles move are all based on however you modify the settings here. Again, there's a lot of really good tutorials out there on how to set this up, and I'm not going to go that far in depth, so I'm just showing you really the basics of how I put together the piece that I'm showing you. So we've got our lights. We have a point light here, and then if I zoom out, you can see I've got a spotlight here. Let me go a bit to solid mode. You can see the cube a lot better. So you see it's got this nice kind of a green look. I've got the cube set to an opaque mode so that it's transparent. That way, when the simulation is playing, you're not looking at a cube. You're looking at the substance of what's inside of the cube. And this green color is really because of this point light that I have. And this here is the actual image, which, because it's not in rendered mode, it just shows up as the plane. If I were to toggle this on, now the image shows up on the plane. So if you have experience with textures, with planes, essentially what you're doing is you're assigning your image as the material for the plane that you're using. I hope I said that right. If not, you can feel free to correct me, but this is how I understand it. And if I, let's see, so let's look at this in camera mode. So this is what the shot looks like when it's all set up. What I do is I play the simulation and I watch it until I find the position of the particles in comparison to the image. It's personal preference, whatever you think looks good to you. And you can pause it, and then you can go up to render and render image, and of course you can create your image, or if you hit render animation, then it will play the entire animation. And I've got this particular animation set up to play at for 100 frames, and then when I build my final animation, and within the video compositor, I just copy and paste the same 100 cells over and over again. I find that it cuts down on the overall render time. So I doesn't take as long. Maybe on a faster machine it might play better. Let's see. You can see the icospheres that have been set up to have a bloom effect, which gives you that nice little kind of a glow look to it. And then I have my other particle set to black, so it'll look like a shadow as it plays over. I don't think you can see it in this one, but in the final version, every once in a while you'll see a couple of black pieces go over. It kind of gives it a little bit more of a effect. So let me go now into let me show you the lights. The lights are pretty cool. So you see here we got camera mode again. Okay, so how do I use these lights? So let's turn this one off. Let's turn the point light or the spotlight off. There we go. Okay, so now we're in render mode. My image is basically gone now. But if I activate my lights, let's turn this one on first. So this light is from my spotlight, and you can play around with these colors however you like. Let's go down to the actual light itself and select light. So you can change this however you want to, and as you can see, as I go through the color spectrum, see how it works with the colors, the original colors of the piece itself. It's almost like you have a gradient map and you're moving through different color alternatives. So, talk about getting some efficiency out of a piece that you've created. So let's go to the other light now. Let's turn this one off again. Off, and we'll change it on. Now see how this one's a dark red. So if I can play with the wattage here, if I go down to say 100 watts, it almost just go a little bit brighter. It's to 300 watts. As I go up, the image starts to show. So I put 100. I meant to put 1,000. Image starts to shine up even more, and again I can change the colors of the light and make I can almost change the color scheme of the original piece completely if I wanted to. Let's go this. And so all of these tools really allow you to go through and almost completely transform this into what I think is a very handy, multi-purpose a feature that you can upload on your YouTube, like what I'm doing, or let's see. I mean, other applications, like maybe you're going to build some type of a promo for a design that you've made. You can just throw it into Blender and add a few more effects to it, and voila! You've got. I think you're just limited by your own creativity. So, full transparency. This is the first tutorial I've ever uploaded onto YouTube. I hope that you found this useful. I hope that you found it inspiring. But I'd like to know what you think in the comment section. Thanks, and have a good day. And hey, if you like that, then come on over and check out my Gumroad store. I've got my most recent comic book uploaded called Compilation of Horror. If you like scary ghost stories, then this is the place to see. Also follow my website for all my latest updates. See you next time.